Did you record?
No, not yet.
Like WandaVision. It's a hell of a
Yes.
sense.
Dude, almost. So I was thinking, I was hoping that one was released tonight because I was trying to watch it before today's episode. But
No. Yeah, so WandaVision, it gets released at 12 a.m. Pacific time, right? So it'd be 3 a.m. our time, I believe.
Oh,
So yeah, unless you really, really, really just need to stay up to watch it, and like I'll just watch it tomorrow. But
I mean, I am taking a day off tomorrow, but I'll go 3 o'clock.
yeah, no. So WandaVision, and I wish okay, this is a tough week this week. I wish I had more weeks to kind of do a lot of research because I wanted to read more on House of M. It's heavily influenced based off of that. Agatha Harkness, that the freaking episode that we did right before, which was delayed, right? Which we were showing the power of Photon, which is the Maria Rambeau character, right? Like she became Photon. I wanted to look up.
It's Monica.
Oh, Monica Rambeau. I am sorry. Yeah, Monica Rambeau. Who became Photon. And I mean, they alluded to it a lot during the series, and I'm happy to see that it finally came into fruition. She had a couple of superhero landings. I don't know if you saw that. Like,
they do all superhero landings are the freaking same, man. I swear.
Yeah, no, but I don't know what her power is. Like in this show, like.
Well, it seems like she can see energy. It's one of the things.
Like she was seeing radio waves, right? She has some sort of durability, right? Because she was being slammed down, right? And like it didn't phase her. So yeah, I have no idea like what her like how they're gonna have her abilities to be. But let's do like a recap of like the last episode. And let me just ask you, right? I was reading like I glanced through an article today about how people thought one guy thought that this was going to be WandaVision might be Marvel's flop, and it's not. Niggas watching like why am I watching Nick Van Dyke right now? Like
I wanted to know.
What's going on? I was like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm trying to maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let's
I don't see how you could be feeling it right away. I just don't see how anybody can feel that shit right away.
I would say I was feeling it right away. I was trying to figure it out. Right? Like the part at the end of every episode, they'll have like a sword agent like writing something down.
Right.
It's like, okay, what's going on? And we still have a lot to know as to learn as to why they were using like a 50s, like why was it like going through the air like that? They finally revealed the villain. So let's talk about like what happened last episode, the villain, what we think's gonna happen next. So last episode, we all had a anticipation of like who the engineer is gonna be. Like we're a little disappointed that we didn't really know who the engineer. There still might be.
Well, I feel like they haven't really came yet.
Yeah, it still might be somebody. It still might be someone, and I think Monica might start like it's Maria, right? Is it Monica or Maria? I mixed.
It's Monica.
It's Monica. Yeah, Monica might be the head of like Sword coming up next or whatever, right? Because
so they get rid of that other clown, get rid of his ass.
So here's what I think. Well, let's review what's happened, right? So she went to get like the vehicle, right? The lady was like, "Thank you for my mom will be proud of your loyalty," and the lady was like, "Yeah, well, she's not the only one that we're loyal to, right?" So that's kind of where that alluded to her thinking about taking the rings of like Sword, which is what the other guy, I forgot the bad guy, the other guy's name is, whatever, who's the current Sword.
He doesn't deserve a mention.
Well, yeah.
I'm kidding.
So yeah, no, but anyway, so it's the back and forth with Darcy and Vision was hilarious to me.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I did like that.
So
I actually wanted to go back a little bit further, right? Because when it opens up, she breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Right. That's the name of breaking the fourth wall. And so now she's talking to us. And so where you might have questioned whether or not she's really aware of what's going on, or something around that, then you see like, okay, she has been in control of these people the whole time. She kind of knows what she's doing. Some things are out of her control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of the majority of what's happening is in her control. And it was like that power flex that she did at the end of the episode 6 did something. Right. Because now things are like kind of out of whack.
So this is, and we'll get into later of like why Agatha Harkness was like was after her or whatnot, or I think Agatha Harkness was actually trying to weaken her a little bit because she kind of forced Vision outside the hole so she can expand it, which expanded her power, right? But yeah, she had problems like controlling like her surroundings from the beginning, right? Where just not much, but like little things that were a little bit off.
The milk.
Yeah. Well, that was at this episode, but you remember the stalk at like this the stalker stalk at in one of the episodes, right? Where she tried to get it to disappear and it couldn't disappear, right? Like smoke came up, and maybe that was Agatha Harkness showing that or whatnot. But yeah, I felt like after episode 6, like when she showed her eyes, it felt like it was dimming, right? Like her powers were like So, or was the episode 6 that she did that? But yeah, the back and forth between Maria Rambeau and not Maria Rambeau, but Darcy and like Vision was pretty hilarious of him trying to get out of, or just trying to just understand like the predicament that he's in, right? Darcy is pretty funny. Most of the people are usually in pain when Vision like taps him out of their whatever state that they're in. Darcy was not, and maybe because she was just there or whatever, but
maybe she hadn't been there long enough to really be angry about it, right?
Yeah, so not sure about that. But yeah, so Monica Rambeau like breaks in, and the scene of her breaking in is actually pretty awesome. Like I kind of like that whole part where she's like fighting through it. Yeah. Kind of callbacks to Captain Marvel is like when they're handing out kids, they gave your mom the toughest one, right? And
they heard her voice.
Yeah.
But then it seemed like when she was walking through the barrier and you saw the different images of her, it was like each one was almost from a different era of the show, right?
Yes,
it was. Monica, you had whatever the next decades were, and then you had like the present day one. So I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, so when she made it through, she was like, anything that goes through that bubble gets like morphed, right?
Yeah.
She was able to resist that, and I don't know what her powers are with like seeing these like radio fields and whatnot, but that's what she was able to see.
So what I find weird is that, okay, maybe it's because she went through multiple times or something, but why would she get powers after going through there and nobody else?
That's true, right? So I read a couple of fan theories about that, and a lot of it has to do with maybe she already had powers, or maybe her powers were being awoken about that time. She went through multiple times though, right? So someone pointed out that when they showed when they were showing her like her x-rays and whatnot, I think they mentioned like photon or what during that time, but that she wasn't surprised by it, right? So I don't know.
Well, you just said her cells were being rewritten.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe her interaction with Captain Marvel may have done something. Who knows? That's a stretch. Everything we're doing.
Yeah. Well, you touch Captain Marvel, you get superpowers. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently, if you enter in like WandaVision's like little frame 3 times, you get superpowers. So
yeah, it's just I need a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a plot hole right now. One of the things that I did also notice is that that the kids have powers, right? One has super speed, one is kind of like a rip off of Wanda's powers. When they were in the house with Agatha, the boy's like, I like it here. It's it's so peaceful, right? So it's like you could tell like something was off about her.
Yeah. He said her mind is quiet, is what he said, right?
Yeah. So it's like he wasn't getting anything.
What are her kids' names? Is it Speed and Wiccan, I think?
I know the witch. Well, I don't say the witch, but the kid with the Wanda's powers is Wiccan. Yeah, I don't know the other one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the other kids' names are. I'm gonna look them up right quick. Um, yeah, no, one of them is Wiccan. I think they may be a part of the new Avengers too as well. So as you know, Hawkeye, he's gonna have his own show, and Haley Steinfeld,
His
uh,
daughter.
is gonna be his daughter as like the new Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're gonna might have like a Young Avengers thing going on. Um, I thinking also was it A Force that they showed in Endgame? So an all female like Avengers team. I think there are plans for that to happen in,
Yeah.
in that as well. But let's go ahead and continue. So all right, so Monica Rambeau comes in, tries to like get Wanda like out of like whatever funk that she's in, right? And I really like the parallels there, right? Because it showed Monica like overcoming her loss, her coming back after gone for 5 years and losing her mother, right? Because
Right.
she's stuck in a hospital and she loses her mother and she's experiencing loss and grief, right? And Wanda, who's also experiencing loss and grief, right? So she's like almost the perfect person to kind of try
Yep.
to talk to her and relate to her on a human level, right? So
Yeah.
I really like that parallels of what they did there. I was wondering like why they showed her um like going through all that. Even the scene was pretty cool, talking about like when this the reversal of the snap happening and why why they were showing that. And I think it turned out to be a really smart move by that part, so they can have that sort of relation there between Wanda and Monica. So yeah, so afterwards, Agatha sees this happening and like convinces Wanda to come in. And
Yeah.
as you said, Agatha like I think Agatha probably takes the two kids or somewhere, or she says that we don't know where the kids are, but she says
Yeah.
basement, right? So
Yeah.
Wanda goes in the basement. If you notice the aspect ratio of the of
It went to
yeah
like a full screen.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it almost felt as if like that's not in Wanda's hex anymore. Like they're actually in the real world
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It showed a book, which I forgot what the book was called, but yeah, I guess we're
So
gonna.
there was some theories about if that book showed up in Doctor Strange, like if that was one of like the forbidden books
Hmm.
um that they kept like in the was it the sanctum or whatever.
Yeah,
So I'm curious to see like what that book was.
yeah. No, I'm definitely curious to see what that book was either. So, yeah, and then Agatha Harkness comes in and says, "Oh, I'm Agatha Harkness," and she plays this song that got stuck in my head for a little bit. It
That
was
theme
catchy.
song is legendary, man. That's one of the best character introductions I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was catchy. And actually, so Tanoia Paris, who I follow on Instagram, she was actually playing that song and she was playing like another like a remix song of that. I'm like, man, this is actually not bad. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm excited to see the next episode and kind of where they're going with this. Is this how they introduce like the mutants? I have an idea of what's gonna happen in the next episode because remembering the trailer, right? There's a part where she's flying and then Vision's flying and they're talking to each other and they're like, "This is our world, let's protect it," right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like the bad director of Sword's gonna like order an all-out attack on Wanda or whatever,
Of
and
course.
maybe them gonna be trying to protect it. But I wonder how they're gonna deal with the Agatha Harkness thing. And the thing, you're a comic book nerd, so what is like Agatha Harkness like? So for my iterations, from what I've read about her, she's not a bad guy. Like in this version, she's a
Oh,
bad,
well,
but
I wouldn't even say she's necessarily a bad guy right now. I'm not sure she's a bad guy right
really, she just tricked
now. I
her.
mean,
She said she was a bad guy. It was Agatha all along. Like, come on. And she
right.
killed
It was
her off.
Agatha all along, but what you still don't know specifically what she did, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, she said what she
she,
did.
she
She
brought
tricked Wanda. She
brought
brought back
Pietro,
Pietro.
but
Triggered.
what did she do to Wanda specifically though? Did she hypnotize her? Like he didn't quite see like
Yeah,
what what made Wanda start the whole thing.
that's
So
true.
technically, Wanda started it all, but maybe Agatha, however she did it, right, was just like put on notice that, hey, there's another powerful magic user here
Yeah.
and she's doing something, or there's still, I feel like there's still more to the story.
Oh, there's
right?
definitely more to the story.
Because in the comics, so I did a little research too, right? So in the comics, Agatha Harkness is actually more of a mentor character to Wanda Maximoff, right? She helps her.
She's a mentor to a lot of people, actually.
Yeah. She looked after the Fantastic Four's kids. She mentored Wanda. She looked after Wanda and Vision's kids.
Yeah.
And she's also very old. So she's been around since, I think it's something in the 1600s, like she was part of the Salem witch hunt and all that type of stuff. So I don't think that she's just all bad. I think maybe this iteration of her starts out maybe as like a trickster type deal or something like that, or her being she becomes a mentor through teaching Wanda a lesson like the hard way, which is, hey, like you're going through this grief, you're doing all this stuff. Now I'm going to do stuff. I'm going to do something just to drive you like straight through it. You know what I mean, and help you get through it or whatever. I don't know.
That's her reach. I think this iteration is a bad guy. I really do think it's a bad guy. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think she did a lot of manipulation to kind of get her to want to in this state. Again, we'll see the episode in a couple hours, so we're gonna find out to make sure. I wonder
in a couple hours, like 6 hours away.
Well, yeah, we're gonna see it next day. We're gonna see it. Yeah, I'll see it sometime tomorrow. But yeah, super excited about that. Super excited about like what they're gonna do. Do you think we'll see Monica Rambeau outside the MCU? Like I'm not outside the MCU, outside of like WandaVision, like in like an actual movie. Like I hope
it's all about how popular the character is, right? Yeah. So they're gonna go by fan reactions or whatever. I think it's been pretty positive so far. So yeah, I think if they do like the all-female Avengers type deal, I think she could definitely be there. So I mean it's possible. I saw a fan poster where Spider-Man was standing in the Sword headquarters. So maybe she has something to do with that, because they're doing the multiverse thing, and WandaVision ties into the multiverse deal. Yeah. And that was one thing I wanted to talk about too. When you went down into the book, when you went down into the basement, so Wanda's visions are Wanda's visions. Wanda's powers are like red, like when she does her stuff. Agatha's are purple. But when you see the book, it's like an orangish, yellowish, reddish. So I'm wondering if that signifies like a different magic user. Is it? And there were some other symbols in the basement, so maybe that points to, a Mephisto being back there. There you could if they do a Mephisto type deal, you could see them doing a brand new day type storyline. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So with Brand New Day, I hated the storyline too, by the way. But with Brand New Day, it was like Spider-Man made a deal with Mephisto to, I think it was like bring his aunt back to life or something like that. So long as in order to save Mary Jane, it was like he couldn't marry her, right? And so he makes a deal with Mephisto to keep her alive, but then they basically forget that they know each other. And so if you have Mephisto here in the MCU, maybe Wanda makes a deal with Mephisto, or maybe she works with Agatha to make a deal with Mephisto to save Vision, and redo some things, rewrite some elements of reality, or whatever. So it's a whole lot of different stuff.
There is. I think Agatha referred to her Mephisto like as her husband. Like was it Ray was her husband?
It was the postman.
You think?
I don't know if the postman is her husband, but it was like I was watching one of those breakdown videos, and it was like the postman has said and done and pointed out some things to make it seem as like maybe he's in on it, maybe he's not quite who he seems to be. So we could be seeing more with him too.
Yeah. Well, I remember one scene that when I was trying to figure it out, this is at the beginning where the postman walked by and he goes, "Don't kill the messenger," and she goes, "Ha, ah, ah, ah," right? So I wonder if it's victim or I don't know what his part in this is, if there is a part that he has. But yeah, I'm interested to see this. I think they're really teasing at like things that are bigger now, like with just superpowered or enhanced individuals. We might actually hear the word mutant come very soon, right? Like the director of Shield was like superpowered individuals. He seems like one of those Senator Kelly guys, right? And like in
X-Men lore.
Yeah, like in the X-Men lore, the Senator Kellys or the Trask type guy where they're just scared of like superhuman people or whatever, and like the world's like more dangerous than it should be and whatnot. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they kind of play into all this, and yeah, I'm excited to see like the next couple of episodes. Yeah, as we know Wanda will be a part of the Multiverse of Madness, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna come after Spider-Man, which is the new Spider-Man movie is called No Way Home. By the way, I don't know if you caught that.
Yep, I did.
Yeah, so Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Which is interesting to say the least.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if there's definitely going to be some multiverse madness going on there, and with Wanda to play a part. I wonder what Agatha Harkness's goal is, right? Because like you said, in Comic Book Glory, she's not always a bad guy. She was actually mentored to, I think, Mystique. Have you see X-Men Evolution? That in a
Oh really?
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, she was there. She was in there. So she was just a mentor-ish type character, but yeah, I'm curious to see what's next.
I'm curious to see. So you have Shield,
Mm-hmm.
more like the defensive arm of things, and then you have Sword, who seems to be more of the offensive, at least the government's like offensive investigative branch.
Yeah.
If you want to say so. I'm curious to see more of the inner workings of the Sword as an organization. You know, what are their goals? What are they trying to do? And I could definitely see like Monica taking over for sure.
Yeah, I think she'll be the new head of Sword. Like definitely, for sure. Just with like the amount of respect that she still commands from people, and like the current boss being like a douche, and I think it's alluded that she'll be the new head of Sword. I think that's what's gonna happen, and hopefully we'll get to see her in like more properties, not just like streaming, because I mean the audience sizes are different. So
all depends on reception, man.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Where the hell is Nick Fury?
Well,
where is Nick Fury?
Isn't he like in space somewhere? Right. So at the end of like Spider-Man Homecoming, no, Spider-Man Far From Home, right? It showed him like being in space. It showed like the Nick Fury that was on the ground was actually a Skrull.
He was in space with the Skrulls.
Yeah, and he was like somewhere in space, like just relaxing, whatever. So it makes me wonder if he's like ahead of Sword, like up in space or something, or some other.
I mean, yeah, I want to know what's going on. Where's Nick at?
That's a
good this guy hasn't been seen in a minute.
That's a good question. I would like to see where he's at too. I'd love to see Monica and Captain Marvel's kind of relationship, like to see how that has flourished, to see why she's upset. I mean, I assume that she's upset because she hasn't been back for a little bit. So
I mean, it seems like Captain Marvel. This is, I get that she's like an intergalactic hero or whatever, but it's just like she comes, she goes. It's kind of just, you know, she's almost at this point. She's just been a plot device, almost like, all right, we need somebody strong. Here she
Okay,
comes.
so she was definitely a plot device in Endgame for sure. This is kind of what happens when you have someone who's too overpowered, right? Like you become like for example, like in Endgame. So like they have this like plan to like go back to like the time scales and like get the like the stones or whatever. And I'm saying like if this is so dangerous, then there's you don't start this plan until you call freaking Captain Marvel, right?
Hey,
You that's the first person you call, like for sure. I was like, you don't start this plan without Captain Marvel, but like the
but
reason
I guess they couldn't call her either though because for
the
that
reason
plan,
she gave was that she was too far away, that you wouldn't see me for a while. But that's a clever device by the directive to kind of get her out of the way. So
yeah, yeah, she wasn't one of the original characters, but I felt like that if she went back in time, then maybe it would have broken something because she didn't belong,
yeah.
in any of those scenes either. So
Well, I mean,
I don't know. It's probably a reach, but
yeah, it's we're reaching here, but yeah, like but back to WandaVision. Yeah, I hope to see a lot of these characters on the big screen. I wonder. I don't know what they're gonna do with the season two. Is there gonna be a season two? I don't know.
I feel like a lot of these are they're meant to be miniseries, but I
Yeah,
think depending on audience reception, then you know how the studios are, depending on audience reception. So right now it's like it's a big hit. Everybody's like talking about WandaVision. So now I'm sure they'll find a reason for there to be a season two, possibly focused on Monica Rambeau.
that would
You know,
be
it
great.
could it could be season one. The show is called WandaVision, and then season two is called Photon or Spectrum or Sword or whatever you want to call her or in the organization. So I could definitely see something like that happening because I Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a mini series, right?
Yeah,
That's sold off.
only six
Hawkeye
episodes,
probably
by
is
the way.
too.
That one.
Yeah, Hawkeye probably is too, just to set up his daughter.
Yeah.
So
So they're doing a
mm.
lot of work to set things up, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah. What did I want to discuss? Like, I'm happy that it turned around. A lot of people are now liking it. Like I was talking to my colleague earlier today, and I was like, "Yeah, this turned out to be an awesome series.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's turned out to be great. Like happy a lot of us hung in there for a while to kind of see. So
yeah, man.
yeah,
I think this was one of the better episodes too. So The Office is one of my all time favorite shows.
yes,
And when they started having those little sessions where the
Mhm.
characters are just talking or whatever, like I was just waiting for more of those because the Visions was hilarious. Wanda's was good. Like all those things were really good,
Yeah, yeah. Or so let me ask you this: who do you think Pietro is? Right, I think Pietro is a pure manifestation of like Agatha Harkness. I think so.
man. Yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't
think
think he's like
right.
anybody real. Um, so yeah, I'm curious to see. It seems like Agatha Harkness can manipulate like
It's
perception.
magic. It's magic, man. So
Yes.
she could do.
Well, I mean,
There's
she can. Yeah,
no ceiling on that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, she can do like she was tricking Vision, right? Who's a
Yeah,
machine, right? Which is interesting.
right. Like how do you even how do you do that? And he has the Mind Stone. So now you're saying that you can outdo the Mind Stone now. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's that. And then there's something earlier in the episode too where he ate something funny and it like messed up with the system or whatever somehow, some way, which doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense.
yeah. Uh,
um, but yeah, a lot of people were asking like, is this a possible way of them getting back the Infinity Stones? So I don't know.
why? What will be the point? That's kind of like a waste.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so. I think the sacrifice of the Infinity Stones was kind of prudent for them to actually move on. It'll suck if they kept going back to that, and then some other person will try to get the Infinity Stones. But at the same time, I guess the Infinity Stones were supposed to be like a cap on like reality, and now that they're not there anymore. So the Sorcerer Supreme like alluded to that a little bit earlier, right? With like um the Infinity Stones represent the flow of time, and if you remove like one of those stones, like the flow splits or whatever. So that might be. I have no idea where they're going with this, and it's magic too, so they can do anything.
So at the end of at the end of Endgame, do you remember whether or not the stones were destroyed, or did they kind of just like disperse back across the
No,
universe?
so the stones were destroyed at the beginning of Endgame.
Okay. Wait,
Yeah,
at the beginning?
the beginning.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, because we had to go back and get it. Yeah,
yeah. So they went back to at the beginning of Endgame. Captain Marvel came in, was like, "Hey, let's go get Thanos. Turn everything back." They found Thanos. He destroyed the stones, right? And that's
yeah.
where
Right.
that got to the whole time skip heist thing. And then Captain America brought them all back. Apparently,
Took them all back to where they were, so they still exist. Is my
well,
point.
in a different timeline, right? In different time like zones. So not in
But
their.
they're still there. They're still at that. I mean, they put them back like in their proper place in the timeline. So
Yeah,
it's not that they don't exist anymore, right? So because like the Eye of Agamotto is the freaking time stone, right?
yeah.
So they're still there. Doctor Strange still has it.
No, not in that time zone that they don't. Again, we don't know how this is gonna work, right? But
Yeah.
they're all the Infinity Stones exist in different time zones, right? So, for example, Loki, perfect example, right? So, in whatever time zone he's in, the Tesseract exists, right? Even though remember Thanos, like remember in Infinity War, he destroys it, gets a time stone out of it, right? He still uses the Tesseract in to escape and start his own series. So wherever he's at right now, the
I'll
Tesseract
be
is
honest. Yeah, the Loki show like doesn't even make sense to
well, yeah.
me. So I get like they go back through time. They think about it like this.
Mhm.
Okay, they go at the end of the first Avengers. Loki has been captured,
Yep.
taken to prison on Asgard. Right.
Okay.
So now at the end of Endgame, they've returned the stones to their proper location. Somehow they're trying to say that hey, Loki disappeared. Right, because he used a tesseract to leave.
Right. So
So
you
so
missed the
how
part.
can he be captured? Because there has to be he has to be in prison. For the, you know what I'm saying? It's like they erased history, or Loki's magic is strong enough to make it to where like he exists in two places.
No, you missed. I think you missed the part. So, what happened? So, and they don't do a good job explaining this too. Loki taking the time stone or the Tesseract started a branch reality, right? Because keep in mind, right, when they were trying to get the Tesseract, right, they almost had it, and then like Hulk messed it up, right, where they lost the Tesseract, Loki picked it up and disappeared, right, and that's when Captain America and Iron Man had their conversations, like, oh, there's one other place where we can get more Pym juice and find the Tesseract, and that's in some like Navy or Army base back then. So that's when they went to get that Tesseract back during that time, right? So that's the Tesseract I believe that he put back, right? Not the one that Loki took. So does that make sense?
Yeah, but still, okay. So yes, that makes sense because that happened before the events of Avengers One. I get that. He went back. They
Yes.
went further back in time. My point is that if Loki left, well, I guess it doesn't really show when he left.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
where I'm getting. That's where I'm getting confused at because he's arrested. He somehow grabs Tesseract when they
Yeah.
lose it, right? And then, but the events of like Thor: The Dark World and all that stuff still have to happen.
No. So that's no. That's the thing. When that happens, that's a branch reality, right? That's different now, right? So when they took the death, so they explained this a little bit at the so we can't think of time as like a singular like space. So Hulk explained it at the beginning, right? When they said
Well, the ancient one explained it, but it was like when you change something, then you create like a different
a
stream,
branch reality, yes.
right?
So
But my
he
point is that they went back and fixed the stream. That was the
No, they
point of
didn't.
Captain America doing all that stuff.
They did not though. They did not fix that stream, right? Because
But that's my point. If he went back before they made a new branch,
yeah,
then I mean, obviously, we're just talking like a bunch of BS here. But
yeah,
if he went back before that stream was created, then how can that stream still be created?
yeah. No, so
You know
no,
what I'm
you're
saying?
not wrong. If he prevented the Tesseract from being taken by Loki, then you're right. He wouldn't have created that branch reality. I don't think that's what happened, and that's the whole premise of the Loki story: is that he took the Tesseract, and there's a branch reality that got created. Now, if you look at the trailers, and they also talk about how Loki had an involvement in WandaVision. So there's some fans have
What?
no idea how he's doing it. Like he was just making stuff up now. But they say that Loki has someone involved in like WandaVision and whatnot. But yeah, when he took this Tesseract, that created another branch in time, a branch where he did not go back to prison in Asgard, right? Right. That's the past. So according to what Hulk says, when you go back in time, that past now becomes your present, and your present becomes your past, which can't be changed, right? So like you can't change history. This history already happened. You can prevent like branch realities from happening. And a branch reality already was, and Captain America created a branch reality when he decided to stay back, right? So he created another branch reality when he stayed back and lived with his wife, um,
Peggy Carter.
Peggy Carter, after he made out with like the niece, which is weird. If you remember in Captain America Civil War,
He didn't know. He didn't know. Poor
he
guy
did
didn't.
know. He totally knew.
Did he?
He did. So keep in mind,
He was dead. He didn't know.
no, he did know because this is
But
what
she was
happened.
dead. She
No,
was dead though.
no. He went to her funeral, right? He went to her
Peggy.
to Peggy's funeral, right? Because she passed. And
Right.
she passed. And Sharon Carter, her niece, spoke at the funeral and saying, "She's my niece. I didn't tell anyone about this because I didn't want anyone to like to know that me and her are actually related." Right.
Mm.
So yeah. And she never told her aunt that she was ordered to spy on like Captain America. So yeah, he made out with her great niece and married her back again. Just weird. Yeah,
All
I don't
right.
know what else you got to discuss.
No, I mean this is the type of stuff that we wanted to cover in this episode, though, man. It's that because that's fan theories is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to. I want to know who this new Quicksilver is
Yes.
for sure.
I think it's a
and I want to see if we're going to
manifestation.
see Mephisto. I think we're going to see Mephisto. I do think we're going to see Mephisto.
Yeah. I think there's gonna be a huge fight scene with like the sword, aircraft, and possibly Monica Rambeau, WandaVision, and what with Wanda and Vision. I wonder if there's gonna be a moment for Wanda to let Vision go, kind of like that we saw what we saw in Wonder Woman 1984, right, where she had to let Steve Carter finally go. I wonder if there's going to be something very similar to that happening in this series. So, yeah,
Yeah. Or Agatha resurrects him like for real.
yeah,
I think he's going to get resurrected somehow.
really.
I think so. Yeah.
It's
Mephisto,
possible.
Agatha, even Wanda, if she if she realizes her full potential, somebody can definitely resurrect him for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if it dampens like his um his sacrifice kind of, but at the same time, so you make a good point here because when Agatha killed the dog, right? Um, the kids suggested like you can bring the dog back to life, and Agatha's like, you can do that, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you can do
See,
that. So it's possible that could be a thing. Another thing too with Agatha, I don't think she knows the full extent of like Wanda's powers.
No,
Right?
Wanda doesn't either. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
There's some untapped potential there.
yeah. So because when Agatha was like, I assume that Agatha was talking through Pietro, right? And Pietro was like, "How are you doing this right now? Like how is this happening?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
trying to figure all
exactly.
that out, right?"
Exactly.
So again, all sorts of things to kind of find out. So
Yeah.
kind of happy to see where it's at, where it's going. Yeah, let's see some more WandaVision. All right, you got anything else?
That's it. All my questions have definitely like not been answered.